poppin' B? Purple here, and welcome back to another episode of Race the Ramen, the show where I attempt to review something unscripted in the amount of time it takes to boil an instant ramen. And today we'll be taking a look at Harold and the Purple Crayon, starring Zachary Levi, showing now in movie theaters. Alright, we're going to start the timer right now. Oh. Now. I really need a new timer. But anyway, so Harold and the Purple Crayon, the live-action movie that has audiences everywhere going, who asked for this? It's been an interesting year for film, 2024, so far. There's been some pretty great movies, a lot of good and okay movies, and then, at least for me, I've seen a handful of really quite bad movies this year. And they're all interesting for different reasons. They're not just bad. They're bad for special, unique reasons that make them special and unique. And truly, there were few movies this year that I was more excited for, mostly in an ironic way, than Harold and the Purple Crayon, because I feel like I had basically the same reaction to this movie everyone did when they learned about it. What? No one asked for this. I think that that needs to be the thing that underscores this whole review. No one asked for this. Not only did no one want no one really wanted a Harold and the Purple Crayon movie. It's a children's book from 1955, a classic, a good children's book with a sweet little message and a nice little art style. But I don't think a lot of people would have cared about any version of a movie based on this property. And supposedly, at one point, there was going to be a Sony Pictures animated adaptation of Harold and the Purple Crayon. But that got canceled. And instead we have this. We have Harold coming to the real world from his picture book, where his animal friends turned into real human beings. And he gets to help some kid with his imagination problems, and he occasionally bumps into his bitchy mom, played by Zooey Deschanel, acting like she could not give less of a fuck if you paid her to give less of a fuck. I mean, this movie is already kind of a giant joke. No one is seeing it. It cost like $40 million to make, and it's already made back only like $6 million in its opening weekend. No one cares. I went to see this movie at a local AMC, and they very kindly gave me a poster for the movie that's double-sided, kind of a coloring book type thing. That's pretty cool. In fact, they gave me another, and several more, an entire stack rolled up, and 5 boxes of promotional crayons, which, may I say, this is all pretty cool, even if I don't really know what I'm going to do with most of this stuff, but the point is, no one was taking these. I asked, is it one per customer? It's please, take as much as you like. They tried to get me to take more. They insisted. No one cares about this movie. That's just the thing. It almost doesn't matter how good or bad it really is. Which, for the record, it's not very good. It's not the worst movie of the year or anything. Some people were gawking at this like it was going to be some sort of holy dumpster fire. And for those of you hoping for a so bad it's good type bad movie, I can't really say that that is what this is. In certain ways, sometimes it's okay. I mean, it's kind of earnest in certain places and has some decent messages, and I smiled and laughed at a few jokes. In a lot of other places, it feels inappropriate for the audience, maybe a little scary sometimes, with some irresponsible messages that might not really sound how they wanted them to when they wrote them down. And honestly, I don't like Zachary Levi for a lot of reasons. He's got some, stuff going on in his life that I don't want to get into here, and I just don't like him that much, but he's decent in this movie, probably because he has to be. He knows this is what his career is now, and if he doesn't try as hard as he won't have a career at all in acting. So his optimism and his like boyish charm as this big weird man who never grew up, I guess, is kind of cute. But the whole thing feels like a crappy diet Barbie. Like, it really feels like, I don't know if they scrapped the animated version because they wanted to make this version, but it almost seems like they had some version of the story at some point. Saw how well Barbie did with its like meta-textual commentary and how much money it made and how it was based off an old property and all that. Like, we can do that, but with Harold. And they did not. They made kind of a mess, almost like a 3-car pileup of like childish whimsy, cynical business think, and like inappropriate and weirdly cynical bleakness. It's just dumb. Hopefully that gives you a decent impression of what I think of the movie. And honestly, I can't recommend this movie for like any reason. Like, even sometimes with bad movies, I'm like, hey, you might get some enjoyment out of this if you're one of those people who can laugh at a bad movie. And there's bits of that in this. And if you are a parent and you want to take your kids to see this because they're interested, there are worse things to take your kids to see. I don't think I'd really call it like super harmful. But I also think it sends mixed messages to its audience. And again, its whole message is like the power of imagination when it's like an incredibly creatively bankrupt idea. And no one seems that interested in the idea at all, including some of the people in it. And it's just like a movie that really seems like it was made for nobody. Maybe little kids could enjoy it, but there's better things to show your kids, and otherwise, nah, can't really recommend. Stay away. It's a big nothing. I give Harold and the Purple Crayon, starring Zachary Levi, a 3 out of 10. Again, it's not the worst movie of the year, but it's bad. I mean, for what it is, it could have been a lot worse. There are similar, like, cartoon characters coming to the real world type movies that are, like, a lot worse than this, and those that are much better. So it's almost like low, middle of the road, like closer to the bottom, but not quite. And I don't know, maybe if that sounds interesting to you in some way, check it out. If you want to see Zachary Levi have a wizard battle with Jermaine Clement after he swallows half of a magic crayon, go for it. Oh, spoilers, by the way, I'm sorry. After all this Deadpool and Wolverine discussion lately, I've forgotten how to keep my mouth shut about spoilers. But yeah, no. Just no. No one asked for it, no one wanted it. No one really needs to see it. 3 out of 10. No good. Please stop putting Zachary Levi in things, and please stop making this kind of movie. Like, Barbie was really good. We all liked Barbie, and it did smart stuff, but, like, stop with this, like, let's take a character from, like, a children's book or a cartoon and put them in the real world. Like, it's the most interesting thing you can do with the character. It never is. Practically never. Barbie is like the one example because it was written by like good writers and directed by a good director and had lots of invested actors. This didn't have that. This had almost nothing, except a bunch of cool swag that I must now figure out what to do with. And special effects are pretty good, I guess, for a $40 million picture. Looked good for what it needed to do. Production design's fine, but bro, I'm looking around for crumbs of praise. This is just like a movie everyone's gonna forget if anyone even takes time to form memories of it at all. Hey, I'll give it this though. In terms of like movies for kids and families that have come out recently, still probably better than the new SpongeBob movie by a few degrees. And it's gotta be something. I don't even know.